What the word whole means cannot be described. Where can you find parameters for the word whole? The mind can't really relate to it, because it's beyond concept. It's beyond concept not because it's something far out, but because it's so simple that as soon as you think about it, you've moved further away from it. Every word that refers to something real has to be realized. But the mind thinks linearly in time and space. As soon as you start trying to figure out what something means, you're traveling, moving away from its actual meaning. Because meaning is not something to figure out, not something you can get. It's something you are. To find reality, you have to come to yourself. You find the meaning of the word whole in yourself, because that's what you are. The whole is not something separate from you. How can you verify this for yourself? How can you make this your actual understanding, rather than a theory you'd like to believe? By tasting the truth of it. To do that, you need to be present. Freedom is only in the present moment. Free from the past and future. Past and future are the banks of the river of thought that flows through your mind. When you imagine your thoughts are real, you believe that if you don't have thoughts, you don't exist. But in fact, the opposite is true. Our thoughts don't belong to us. They are an outer layer, subject to mass consciousness. Thoughts come from other thoughts, which come from our sensory perceptions. Through body-mind connection, the external aspect of the mind is replaced by something that belongs to us. Body-mind connection has a little of the taste of existence already in it, because the feelings are close by. We don't experience them at first, because the feelings want to be sure that body and mind are together, so they don't get crushed in the fight. When body and mind remain together for a while, the real feelings come in. I become unified in myself. That's my receptivity, and it nurtures my existence, my true nature. My consciousness opens up. Instead of looking only at the apparent world, I become open to existence, to the source of all reality. This connection to the bigger picture gives me confidence in my true nature. Then I'm not alone. I'm not separated. So fear disappears. If you look at a cherry tree, you see a few cherries are very ripe and ready to pick. Some are mostly red, but have a little green still. And some are mainly green. Some are all green, and others are green and tiny. And there are also blossoms that haven't yet become fruit. We understand that we can't be critical of the cherries which aren't yet ripe. We're grateful for the ripe ones we're going to pick and enjoy. The rest will ripen in their own time. We need the same understanding in our own life. My understanding of the bigger picture, of the whole cherry tree, supports me to not hate those cherries which aren't ripe, and to appreciate those which are. This is also the posture we need to have to look at humanity as a whole. We are all in different stages of consciousness, and we cannot force things. We can't kick the tree to make the cherries ripen. But we can nourish the whole planet by having being participation, by being present. Then our atmosphere supports life. Ultimately, everyone will ripen when it's their time. Everything that has life could inspire us, provided we connect to its existence, instead of to its form or name. That's why we need consciousness, because consciousness can see things as they are. Then you can look at something, and before the name of that thing comes to your mind, you connect to the isness of it through your own isness. That is our essential aspect, because it's unseparated. and has an inner relationship to all that exists. If something exists, it has isness. Its isness never disappears. It's permanent. All isness is eternal. Every moment of existence is an eternal moment. That's what eternal means. It means freedom from time and space. The day your body goes back to the soil, people say you died. The cage may have broken. But what has that got to do with the canary? If the bird cage gets damaged, we shouldn't say the canary is sick. Why do we need to raise our level of consciousness? Because our mechanical mind and feelings don't have light. They don't see. They stick to the surface, to the periphery. Light is needed to penetrate form and see the isness. So we need consciousness. The evolution of man isn't the evolution of this form, because real evolution has to be eternal. The evolution of man means the evolution of consciousness. When you see thoughts are just thoughts, you are not a thought. You are that which sees the thought. You don't lose track of who you are. When you put money in the bank, you don't think you are that money, do you? So why, when you have a thought, do you think you are that thought? Man's job on earth is to receive conscious energy. Then, the darkness of unconsciousness, of ignorance, can be transformed into the light of understanding and being. The universal purpose of existence is exactly that, the increase of consciousness for the welfare of all that exists. You can see it yourself. Whenever you harm someone, you see you did it because you didn't understand. The more consciousness, the more understanding, the more supportive you become. Fear arises in the absence of understanding. The more fear you have, the more you try to protect yourself. But you don't know what real safety and security mean. You cannot rely on information or even on knowledge. You can see by your own experience that no matter how much you read, how much you study, no matter how much more material you put inside your head, your understanding does not grow a bit. Only your information and knowledge may grow. But that's the outer part of you. The outer part of you is fed by what's outside of you, and that's mass consciousness. We are subjective creatures, subject to the influences that come from mass consciousness. So we don't operate from our essence. The essence is given to us at the moment of conception by our true nature. You can call it God, awareness, true nature, no difference. The essence receives from within, not from without. We only receive understanding from within ourselves, not from what comes to our ears from another mouth. Through body-mind connection, we are less subject to outer influences. The essence is always connected to the body and to the feelings. The essence announces itself as I am. Thought doesn't care about the universe. It doesn't care about consciousness. It just wants to be a king. But because of it, the universe is dynamic. Thought creates the constant need to come back to what's essential. Why do we forget? In order to remember. The mountain of development is endless. Each step brings a new realization, new insight, new understanding. That's the growth of consciousness. When you have one moment in which you begin to wake up, that's the only thing that's important. If you put the emphasis there, then you can see that all your background crystallizations and conditioning are just material to be used. How do you use it? By seeing through it. By seeing there is no substance in it. In those moments when something is given from higher consciousness, we can see things as they are. No matter how much chaos we create, one look from a higher dimension gives us a fresh start. We are all pregnant with the seed of consciousness. We need to cultivate and nurture that seed so it can grow. Just as a pregnant woman needs to give herself good food and nourishment, we need to remember the seed of consciousness within us. We need to bring our three parts together in order to nurture it. One or two parts of us can't feed that consciousness. All three together are needed. When body, mind, and feelings are united in a common aim, we are not fragmented. We are receptive. We move from fragmentation toward unity. In that receptivity, we connect to the consciousness within, and we also know the existence of the universe around us.